Hey everybody, this is Bill. Welcome to the channel. Today we're talking college football and we're going to look at our week 13 top 25. This is the last top 25 of the regular season. We're going to take a look at who fell out of last week's top 25. Are there some teams that can still get in the top 25 to close out the season after the bowl games and so forth? Who's lurking back there? But we're basically going to be focusing on the last regular season concluded, our top 25 for this week. So let's take a look. All right, so we only had two teams fall out from last week. That was Kansas State, who lost at home in a blizzard to Iowa State, and UCLA, who in the final regular season Pac-12 game at home, and we're sad to see the Pac-12 go. I can just tell you that Pac-12 after dark was fantastic. But anyway, UCLA hosted Cal and got bombed 33-7. What a dismal performance by the Bruins after their victory over Southern Cal. We thought Chip Kelly was okay. It turns out he is, but boy, after getting walloped by Cal to close out the Pac-12 permanently, what a terrible performance by the Bruins, so they're out of the top 25. There are a whole host of teams that are looking to get into the top 25 somehow, bowl victory or something. North Carolina, they fell at North Carolina State. We kind of saw that coming. Texas A&M played well against LSU, but closed out their season with a loss. Kentucky, a huge upset over Louisville, but they've got some bad losses here recently, so they remain kind of outside looking in. Oh, there's Kansas State, who we mentioned lost to Iowa State in that blizzard. The Miami Hurricanes, not the year they wanted, but not terrible. Southern Methodist is looking really good, but we believe, hearing word that they lost their quarterback to an injury, so they're kind of like Florida State without their quarterback. Here's UCLA. West Virginia had a great season. I mean, not a great season, but they did really well. 8-4 with Neil Brown. Looks like he'll keep his job there. UNLV having a great year. Southern California, what a major disappointment. A lot of people had them in their preseason top 5. Kansas with a good year. Memphis is good. Troy, 10-2, very good. Iowa State, got to hand it to Matt Campbell. They've really been playing well lately. So the Cyclones, they're going bowling. Duke started out tremendous, lost their quarterback to injury, been struggling ever since, hanging in games, but just tough to win it with the backup quarterback. James Madison, they're in there. In New Mexico State, who's looking sharp after that big victory at Auburn 2 weeks ago. Those are the teams that are looking to get in the final top 25. All right, folks, before we get into our top 25, we want to invite you to take a look and follow us over on Facebook. We're at the Color and Pageantry over there, and we're not a great big site or anything. When we see news, we post it. We don't break news generally, but we do post some things on college football. We know you love college football, so give us a look over there and like our page if you're so inclined. All right, let's get off to some college football news and our top 25 to conclude the regular season. There are a couple coaching changes. We want to talk about Jonathan Smith, who played brilliantly at Oregon State and is doing a fantastic job as their head coach, has moved over to Michigan State. This is so sad for Oregon State because they're not in the Pac-12 anymore. They didn't get picked up by any major conferences, and so now they're really falling hard, and this is just so damn disappointing to see. I really am not happy about it at all. But anyway, Oregon State, they've hired Trent Bray, who's a great defensive assistant. We've been following him for a long time. So they'll be as good as they can be. We're cheering for them. But their old coach and their former star player at quarterback, Jonathan Smith, is over at Michigan State. Now, Texas A&M looked like they were going to hire Mark Stoops from Kentucky. Looked like that was all about a done deal. All of a sudden, no, it's not. And now they've gone back and they've picked up Mike Elko, the former defensive assistant at A&M, who's been doing a heck of a job over there at Duke. We think he's going to be fine. But did you really get rid of Jimbo Fisher and pay him $75 million to bring in Mike Elko, who was formerly on Jimbo Fisher's staff? Boy, I don't know if that's a home run or not. I know Elko's a good coach, but that just doesn't sound like all that great of a decision to me. But I'm on the outside. I'm not on the inside. But I think Elko's a good coach. It's not against Elko. It's just, man, you got to pay $75 million and then pay Elko. That's a lot of money. He better be good. So that's our coaching changes we're going to talk about today. We'll cover more of them after next week's games. Let's get on to the top 25. Liberty has entered our poll at 12-0. They're ranked 25th, perfect season. Now can they keep their coach, who I think some people are going to be looking for? Oklahoma State is in the Big 12 championship game. Now, this is a team at 9-3. Now, folks, 2 of their losses to South Alabama, 33-7, and at UCF, 45-3. But here they are. They're 9-3, and they're in the championship game. They beat BYU in double overtime, and they're there. And they're going to face Texas. Utah, a good season, not a great season. They did not have their quarterback, Cameron Rising, all year. He'll be back next year. Utah, 8-4. They're 23rd. Iowa, a last-second field goal, wouldn't you just know it, to beat Nebraska, 13-10. They're 10-2. I don't know how they did it, but they're 10-2. They're going to go get clobbered by Michigan in the Big Ten championship game. Tennessee, big victory over Vanderbilt, the state rivals there. Tennessee's 21st. Clemson is 20th. They defeated South Carolina, and Clemson is playing some good football now. I don't think I want to play them in the bowl game. The Tigers come in 20th. In the final Civil War, a game Oregon State won last year, the Beavers clocked by Oregon and lost it big. Their coach may have been on the way out, may not have prepared, but boy, decisive victory for the Ducks this year, so Oregon State is now 19th. North Carolina State, a big victory at home against North Carolina. Peyton Wilson, a linebacker, you may have never heard of him, buddy. He's an All-America player, might be our Defensive Player of the Year. Hadn't settled in on it yet, but looking that way. North Carolina State looking really good, 18th, great year for them. Notre Dame is 17th, a lot of big victories, some stumbling losses. But Notre Dame, the Irish, are 17th. Tulane, looking really good at 16th. They're probably going to be the team that gets into the New Year's Six Bowls from their position. Louisville laid an egg at home, where they generally play well, against state rival Kentucky. They got beat. And now Louisville has fallen to 15th, but they're going to try to ruin the season for Florida State in the ACC championship game. Probably the biggest story, one of the greatest stories this year is the work of Jed Fish over at Arizona. They are clocking people. Now, they're really looking good over there, Arizona. Got to tip my hat to them. I would not want to play them, but they're coming in at 14th. The Oklahoma Sooners are 13th, 10-2. They upset Texas, but they've had some bad losses there along the way. Louisiana State, not the year they hoped for. They're 9-3. Jaden Daniels is brilliant at quarterback, and the Tigers look like trouble in the bowl game. Penn State, with losses to Ohio State and Michigan, is 11th. They do have some victories, but nothing is very impressive. Those two losses stick out like a sore thumb. Penn State is 11th. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, their two losses are close to Alabama and Missouri, two top 10 teams, and they have a victory over LSU. So Ole Miss might be better than you think. They're coming in at 10th. Missouri, who we just spoke of, they're at 9th. What a great season for Eli Drinkwitz and the Missouri Tigers. They're going to the New Year's Six. Ohio State fell at Michigan, as we kind of suspected that might happen. Ohio State missing the great quarterback. Their quarterback's good. He's going to be good, but he's not great, and they've had a run of great quarterbacks. Ohio State fell at Michigan. Alabama is 7th. They needed a miracle to win the Iron Bowl. A 31-yard touchdown pass to the back of the end zone on 4th and goal from the 31. With time running out, I can't believe I watched. Boy, the Iron Bowl, it's must-see TV. I mean, the goings-on in that game are something to behold. But Alabama's still in it. They're going to play Georgia this weekend in Atlanta for the SEC Championship. Here's the Texas Longhorns. They face Oklahoma State to win the Big 12, and they might get into playoff. Oregon, they are coming in at 5th. Clobbered Oregon State, as we mentioned. They're favored over Washington, a team they lost on the road to by 3 points earlier in the season. They're actually heavy favorites over the Huskies. Bo Nix having a great year. Oregon has been playing great football. We did not think they were going to be that good, but overall their team has just really played fantastic football. But they got the big one Friday night in Las Vegas against the Huskies, who we have at 4th. We dropped the Huskies from 3rd last week because they needed a field goal at the end of the game at home to beat rival Washington State. The Apple Cup. We're not going to see much of that anymore. I think they did renew that. But with the Pac-12 being gone, it just doesn't feel the same. And we're still really not happy about that. But Washington, Oregon, Friday night, ESPN, you can't miss it. You just simply can't miss it. 3rd, Florida State. They go down with their backup quarterback, with their main guy, Jordan Travis, having been injured. They go down to the swamp and get clocked early. It just looked ugly. But then Florida State clamped down and they defeated the Florida Gators. The Swamp, a very tough place to play. Don't know how many of you listening have had a chance to go to a bowl game, a game down there in the Swamp. But when Florida is on, ready to go, that's as tough a place to play as there is in the country. But Florida State gets out of there winning 24-15. The Seminoles, if they can take Louisville out in the ACC championship game, are on their way to the college football playoff. Michigan is going to face Iowa after their big victory over Ohio State, the most watched game of the year. Michigan is on the way. Iowa, they should have no problem with the Hawkeyes. Iowa cannot punt themselves to a victory against Michigan. We don't believe that's going to happen. So Michigan, with the victory over Iowa, they're going to the college football playoff. And the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, Georgia Tech is getting better. They really are. And they gave Georgia a little bit of a tussle. But Georgia got through it. Georgia's 12-0, undefeated. They are in the SEC championship game. They'll face Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. That's 4 o'clock on Saturday. I wouldn't miss it. I really wouldn't. I don't care who's getting married. Not going to be able to do that. You're going to have to watch this game. Georgia and Alabama, 4 o'clock on CBS. Going to be a good game. And the winner is going to the college football playoff. So there you have it, our top 25. Georgia has been number one with us from start to finish. They remain there. They will stay there until somebody knocks off the Bulldogs. All right, folks, there you have our top 25. We got the teams that fell out last week, teams that are looking to get in. Some teams down there have had a really good year, impressed us. But here's our top 25. Do drop us some comments and let us know if you think we got something incorrect, the team that should be higher or maybe somebody should be lower. Do drop us your comments. We'd love to hear from you. Again, if you are on Facebook, you want to check us out over there. We're at the Color and Pageantry, and we do post college football information. So if you're a big college football fan, I assume you are if you're watching, especially if you're still listening, get on over there and like us and see some of the content that we got going on over there. Listen, it's the conference championship games. We really don't see a major upset. Somebody's going to figure it out in Washington, Oregon. We think Florida State and Michigan are going to take care of their games. You never know. And then Georgia, Alabama. Wow, what a great game that's going to be. Looking forward to that one. So, folks, listen, enjoy your week and be ready starting Friday night through Saturday night to see who wins these championship games. And then we'll know, I think, who's going to the college football playoff. Take care, folks. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.